My guest this week is business coach John Cameron, owner of Rock Solid Business Coaching. John's core strength is helping business people achieve excellent results. Rock Solid's world-class programs and experienced business coaches deliver the roadmap entrepreneurs are looking for. Since 2001, they've been helping small and medium-sized businesses increase bottom-line profits, develop strong teams, grow sales, and solve countless operating problems. Welcome, John. How are you?
Hi, very good. Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for being on today. So today's episode, the discussion we were going to go through is ideas to get your business to the next level. But I thought, what better way to kick that off than maybe just define, what does it mean to take your business to the next level?
It means something different to a lot of people, but I've basically, after working with hundreds of people, I've kind of sorted it out into different levels. But the first one level that people get to is they're doing their own sales and marketing, and then they're delivering on a product or the services, and they're just basically solopreneurs out there earning a living. And they want to reach the next level where it turns into a company where they can rely on people for different facets of the business. And that's really kind of getting to the next level, is building a company, getting away from being an individual who's really good at what they do, supplying services, getting into having a company that supports them and takes care of maybe those things that they don't enjoy doing as much, but most likely aren't the type of things that drive the profit into the company.
Okay. So in the article that you wrote, you talked about like the first next level. So how do you go through the assessment process? How do you determine what that first next level is?
Well, the first next level usually happens when you're putting in far too many hours, and the work you're doing starts to take over your life, and the bottom line profits aren't really as high as they should be or could be. And basically, if you find yourself being stuck doing lots of administrative tasks or doing that type of thing that supports the business, but you're not doing what you're really good at, that's really where you need to get to the next level. The first level is kind of you doing what you do well. And the second level is kind of moving past the trappings of success, if you will, where you've got all these things that go along with the business, administrative tasks that need to be done, where you need to get those moved off to somebody else. So that's really the first next level, is the first hire, the first person you bring on, or contractor that you bring on, or virtual assistant, whatever the solution happens to be best for them. But the first next level is really kind of taking the everything that's happening and moving the stuff away from you that you're not good at, that doesn't drive the profits, that you can delegate easily, and getting them done well, so you can get on with doing what you love doing, the reason why you went into business in the first place. Nobody went into business because they want to file paper. Nobody went into business because they want to figure out what their taxes are. So that's kind of what I mean by that first next level, is when you start to, it becomes more than you, it becomes more than the individual. You would like it to, you're kind of trapped. You don't know what to do, so you want to become more than you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So how would a company decide if they're ready to make that next step? So whether they're going to, like you say, bring in outsource or bring in people or make a hire. Are there any sort of guiding points that when you're coaching with companies and individuals to go through an assessment?
Yeah, we call it the company accountability matrix. And that's basically where we make an inventory of everything that happens within the company. Actually, I was just doing it with somebody this morning who was really interesting. His job is to, his expertise is in greenhouses, and he introduces new insects that take care of the pest insects. Mm-hmm. Keeps the balance in greenhouses, large greenhouses. And he was working about 60 hours a week. So we're working to kind of reduce that. Have him be able to delegate more things off of what he's doing. That's but really when you see the need for it is when you're working really hard just to keep everything going, and you're struggling doing things that you're not really trained for or good at, so they're not happening that well, and they start to cause problems in the company and the business. Basically, you're just kind of the first next level is you're a solopreneur, an individual in business that now you're starting to become a bit of a victim of your own success.
Okay. So if I'm an entrepreneur, I'm running my business. I'm getting that point, like you say, I'm working 70 hours a week, and now I have to make that decision. Do I start outsourcing? Do I do a hire? And then, like you say, I go through this matrix, this planning with you, and through that'll help me assess, what my next step is, right?
Oh yeah, we create an inventory of everything that needs to happen or is happening to move the business forward. So All the sort of functions of the company are listed. We rate how well things are being done. We use an elementary school grading system. So if you're like basically your filing's not that good, you'd get a C on your filing. But your product delivery, you might get an A on that. We're basically a list of all the functions your company does, rate how effectively it's doing it, and then the frequency was how many times that actually has to happen annually. So something like filing might be a 52 frequency because you might need to do it 52 times a year. Payroll for yourself when you're writing your own paycheck, it might be every 2 weeks, so that might be a 26 frequency. Basically creating annual financial statements. The company needs to do that, so that's a frequency of 1 because it's done annually. When you do something, you do with your accountant, but still. So we line up everything. We see it becomes an inventory of everything that needs to happen, and when it's structured that way, you can take a look at it, and make logical decisions, and really what we want to pick off right away is those things that are happening with a high frequency and a low effectiveness, because that's really what's causing the most grief and frustration. And those are typically ones, strangely enough, are very easy to delegate, whether a virtual assistant or a first employee that low levels of experience, because those kind of things actually typically for the entrepreneurs are things that they're more routine, because entrepreneurs aren't fond of the routine. They're more fond of the business that they do, maybe creating some new products or driving things forward. So those are the things that really happen with the high frequency and low effectiveness. And once those clean up, basically you start to get more energy into the company, more time into the company, and things start to flow more freely. But when you do it like we do with the company accountability matrix, we'll create a list, and even you might have 150 things, 200 things on that list, even for a small entrepreneur. And basically we start to track it and delegate it and move it out. It works really well. We have sort of a further process that we use. So we plan for the delegation. So we choose the things we want to delegate, and then we start to plan for it and make sure the planning process happens effectively. So and it really does, it works well. It's actually, I can think of off the top of my head a couple dozen people that have broken through and gone on to build companies with 6, 8, 10, 20 employees, because they got past that point where that's where they're blocked. They couldn't get to the next level at that point.
Wow, that's amazing. So from that perspective, that once you start to delegate, you outsource, you hire, you're starting to free up your time. So how do you help the entrepreneur, the business owner, now that they've freed up some of that time, what do they do with that time?
more of what they're really good at, because that's really, basically we all get into business because we love doing stuff, right? You love doing podcasts. If you could just have podcasts lined up for you one after the other and not have to worry about anything all day long, you'd be in heaven, right?
Yeah,
I'm guessing. If I could be coaching people all day long with no distractions, heaven. So really, it gets to back to what the entrepreneurs love to do and how they can bring some value to the world. Because at Rock Solid, we have a saying: every company should be designed to profitably deliver value. And so once you've dialed in on that value, usually the entrepreneur is the key delivery person on their value. Very rarely do you find entrepreneurs is the bookkeeper. He's usually right on the cutting edge of the value, trying to push the value a little bit more, make it a little bit better.
Okay. So those are some really good points. Go through a great assessment, figure out, where my strong points are, where my weak points are, delegate those things, free up my time so that I can really be focusing on the things that matter most to me as the entrepreneur, as the business owner, and just put more energy into that. And I'm assuming that would be developing more sales or getting, more business for the company.
Yep.
So what are some additional tips that you could provide for people that go through the assessment and then start thinking about what's next?
Well, actually, it's quite closely related to what I talked about there about every company should be designed to profitably deliver value. So you have to look at the design. You have to be able to step back enough and have a look at it so you can figure out what that is and how it goes profitably. Detached perspective on it. But then after that, we move into creating a company promise for every company, which is what's the promise you make to each and every customer that comes to your door, each and every customer that you deal with. And once you start to define what that promise is, then it becomes, again, easier to add the second value producer that's out there. Because at Rock Solid, we help real people build strong, profitable companies. And if everything they do needs to track towards that promise. And we asked them, are you keeping a promise today? You went out for a coaching call. Did you keep that promise today? Can you tell me how you kept that promise today? And once you've got a really succinct company promise that dials in on a profitable business opportunity, then it becomes easy to grow the company, it becomes easy to expand the company. And yeah, so it's, I can think of, again, one gentleman who came through now has, I think it's 6 employees or 8 employees, and now is a part owner of the Canadian Internet Marketing Conference. So he's actually just launched from right up to the top of his field in a few short years, and basically he credits a lot of it to the company promise that he's got for his company. But you just keep the focus, you keep the first next level, and that's where you get in there, and you keep the focus on what you do well and what you should delegate. And after that, you keep the focus on the value that you want to bring to the world, the effort that you put into this company, why you're bringing it to life, why you're bringing this company forward, what's the value it produces, what's the value you want it to deliver. Then you can get behind that and start to push that and move that to as many people as you can.
So you have programs, I gather, right? So as a coach, you can help people like sort of accelerate this process, right?
Yeah. So, like, because it goes all the way back to 2001, and the program development was put in place from there. There very rarely is there somebody that comes into Rock Solid as a client that we don't have a sort of a real good feel for where they're at in their company development. Because another way of looking at this is, we tell people that we don't think that you own a business. What you actually own is a company that does business with a market. And most entrepreneurs know their business inside out and backwards. It's the company where they have struggles building a company that supports the amount of business that they want to do. So our programs are all designed to help them build the company behind them that supports what they want to do and the value they want to bring to the world. So whether it's 20 people or 50 people or 2 people that you've got, we've got programs that help you structure how the company should be and what the core part of it, what it should be. So that's really what we do. Is we help real people build strong, profitable companies, and the emphasis is on the companies and also on the real people, because we take everybody where they're at, who they're at. We don't judge anything. Real people come in all shapes and sizes and all different forms. And actually, what we find is that a lot of our clients, a fair percentage of our clients, actually come with learning disabilities, because that caused them to have difficulty getting into the job market, achieving success in the job market. Very smart people with learning disabilities that couldn't make it in the job market, what they do is they find a way to make it work, and they'll get out and they'll develop a company and start doing it themselves, and then getting into business, they go into business for themselves, but they also struggle to build a company, and that's where we come to help them out. So really, that's kind of, I think, as succinct as I could describe. Did it come across clearly?
Yeah, it does. So who's your ideal client, John?
Well, me personally, I like the companies between 3 and 15 employees, where they've got lots of energy, lots of entrepreneurial spirit, built the company up to that size, and then they focus a lot on growing the business, but the company's not there to support it. So we come in and help them. That's what I do, help them build the structure, write their systemization, do their forecasting and budgeting with their numbers, help them build a marketing plan that attracts the type of clients they really want. Because a lot of companies grow, take anybody with a credit card will do, but those clients drag the company off of the value that you want to deliver, is what happens. So we want to market and find the type of people that really want the type of value you're set up to deliver. You built your company for this. Let's find the people who want that particular value.
If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Okay, it's info@rock-solid-business-coach.com. Rock Solid Business Coach with dashes between the words. So info@Rock Solid Business Coach, or John at Rock Solid Business Coach. Either one will work. That's 604-888-3471.
Perfect. And so always one of my signature questions that I've been asking all the people that come on is basically a good wine tip. So I don't know if you are a wine connoisseur, but do you have any insight on some good wine?
No. I hardly ever drink. So okay, occasionally I'll have a craft beer, but that's it for me.
Okay, all right.
But
do you have a favorite beverage?
Yeah, actually, in the craft beer, it's called Dude Chili.
A craft beer.
craft beer called Dude Chilling.
Okay.
There's a park in East Vancouver called Dude Chilling Park. And East Van Craft Brewery named one of their beers Dude Chilling. Actually, it's wonderful beer.
Great. Well, there's our tip. I really appreciate you coming on today and giving us some insight about taking your business to the next level.
Thanks very much.